Good Friday morning, and welcome to another episode of Finding God in the Dark. Today, I want to start off just by doing a couple of housekeeping things. You may have noticed if you're following along that we changed the subtitle of the podcast. So it now is Finding God in the Dark. Darth? I went right to Star Wars. Finding God in the
You are
Dark.
my father.
A Methodist perspective on film, because we are going to have some colleagues who are going to join us now and again. And we're also, since we're not putting it in the title anymore, we're going to drop the nickname. So I'm Don Stevens.
And I am Evan Dodge.
There we go.
I don't know why I said that in such a creepy way.
I don't know. Wait, let me hold the mic in close. So this week, we're talking about a film that Evan recommended to me that I had not seen previously, called The Secret of Kells. The Secret of Kells is a 2009 animated film. It is about the making of the Book of Kells, which is an illuminated manuscript from the 9th century. Now, a manuscript, I'm assuming here they meant scripture, a Bible, an illuminated Bible.
Yeah. So the Book of Kells is it's a 9th century rendering of the Gospels.
There you go. Okay. So in 2009, it was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, but lost to Up from Pixar, which, okay, I get it. It was directed by Tom Moore and Nora Twomey. I love the voice acting in this is great, right? The voice talents of people like Evan McGuire, Brendan Gleeson, Mick Lally, really well done there. It's listed where I got some information from, like Wikipedia. It's listed as the first installment in Tom Moore's Irish folklore trilogy, which includes two other films, Song of the Sea and Wolfwalkers.
Yes.
Which I obviously haven't seen those either. So I'm assuming I'm going to have to watch those now. Like you have to watch Godfather 2 and 3, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've seen, I haven't seen Song of the Sea, but I've seen Wolfwalkers.
Have you? Okay, well, there's
Wolfwalkers was awesome.
apparently.
My kids loved that one. Yeah.
So, as far as the pros to this film, or the stuff that I really like, let's talk about the stuff we liked, and then we'll talk about the other stuff, the stuff that maybe might be troubling, and then we'll get into the Christian angle. So the stuff that I really love, the animation, at least initially, it's a little jarring, right? So if you're used to either like the Disney or Don Bluth style of hand-drawn animation, or the computer animation from Pixar and more recent stuff, this is not either of those. And it's not really anime. It's almost like a hybrid of hand-drawn and South Park, if you will, a little bit, right?
Very colorful and vibrant.
It is absolutely the animation tells so much of the story,
right?
So much, even maybe more than the dialogue of the story. It's about halfway through, I think, I came to the realization that the animation of the film is really meant to remind you of the illumination of the manuscript. It's really supposed to put that into your mind.
So even here,
exactly.
Like the flourishes, I guess for lack of a better word, the curly cues, the bends, all of that is on the Book of Kells.
Right. So there's definitely an inspiration there, right?
Yeah.
It comes through in the animation. The story is wonderful. I mean, I really enjoyed the storyline, solid character development, and even to the end. And I look for this in a lot of films. I'm looking for a redemptive arc, right? I'm looking for some kind of change in the character, and there was a redemptive arc for multiple characters in this story, which I think was really great. I don't know what your positives on it. I mean, you've seen it before, so you knew.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say some of my positives are like I like because I am half Scots Irish. I like anything set in Ireland, or anything that echoes Irish history, and so the setting of the monastery, the Book of Kells itself, some of the characters, even the names like Brendan, Aiden, um, uh, the who was the Abbott Salah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I love the Gaelic names, the Irish
Hmm.
names. Um, and I just like I was telling you right before we started filming. Um, the animation is unlike anything I've ever seen,
Yeah, it
and
is.
like you've shared a bit here. Like there's so there was something that just kind of drew me in because it was so compelling and vibrant and colorful, and yet I hadn't seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, there's also a stark contrast between the animation of the character, sort of the main characters that you follow. Okay, so the nephew, uh, is it Brendan? Yeah. And then it's in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I kept hearing her say her name is Ashley or him say her name is Ashley, but the way it's written out doesn't read Ashley to me, but then it's Gaelic, right? So
Mm-hmm. Right.
um but the contrast between how those characters and those settings are animated compared to the Viking raiders that come in and the monster in the woods, and how differently they're very angular and right, and whereas everything else is sort of smooth and curly cues, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a stark difference in the characterization, even in the animation,
Yes. Yes.
which is
Yes.
it's different, right?
Yeah,
That's
and I
striking.
like the way that this animation, other animations do this, but in this it's just so clear. Like the coloring, the color of their clothes, their eyes, like it all speaks to something about their character,
Right.
right? And how they function and how they are and kind of what their role is
Hmm.
among the other characters in the plot.
Yeah.
So that's just really cool. Yeah, all that attracted me to it.
Yeah, it really, and I mean the story's great. I love the story. My son was a little disappointed because I had to rent it on Amazon Prime, so you get one viewing, and he wasn't there
Okay.
when I watched it, and so, oh, you watched it without me. Happens, son.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
A few things that I did find, I don't want to say disturbing, but maybe might be, people might find objectionable or might have a problem with. There is some pagan ideas, pagan symbolism, obviously, because it goes into Celtic mythology and that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. Fairy spells. Now look, I don't make a big deal of that sort of stuff. I've had the conversation about Harry Potter before. People don't want to let their kids watch Harry Potter because it's witches and witchcraft. Yeah, but there's something else to learn from that, you know I don't make a big deal of that. Some people might.
Well,
um
and yeah, and J.K. Rowling is a baptized Christian, so
yes, she is, and her degree is in medieval Christianity.
right,
So um
right.
but the other thing is that there some of the scenes with like the Viking invaders and the creature in the woods, and those are a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little scary for littler kids.
Right.
And then there's a couple of scenes like when Brendan's in the woods and the wolves surround him, or when he's in that chase with the monster in the woods, or when the Vikings attack the town, and there's actually a scene where villagers die. They kind of die off screen, but the implications
Mm-hmm.
there, and where the abbot is shot with an arrow, and so some of that, again, for littler kids are gonna, might be a little scary. I think it's stuff that carries the story, so I don't personally have a problem with that, but I want folks, look, if you're looking at, what did we think of something, you
Yeah.
know um I don't know, is there anything in this film that strikes you in that direction?
No, I mean, I think, I mean, if we're moving into the realm of kind of the religious overtones, yeah. Are
Hmm.
you ready to? Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that I found objectionable. I think you're right. There are some moments where it's intense,
Yeah.
and that's good
And
to
maybe
know.
that's the best word, really, intense. It's just
Yeah, if
points
you're
it's a
with
little
younger
intense.
kids, um, Crom Cruach was that monster, the deity in the woods,
Right, right.
and
You have to
eventually
steal a
Brendan,
gem from it or something. Yeah.
yeah, well, eventually Brendan like defeats it and it consumes itself or something like that.
Right.
Uh, you know, uh, the Crom Cruach was a pagan god of kind of pre-Christian Ireland,
Okay.
and its worship ended, according to tradition, with Saint Patrick. So I kind of saw that moment in the movie, and I think, looking at it through an explicitly Christian lens, the movie is kind of about this nascent struggle between Christianity, which is brand new to Ireland, and the old pagan ways and the old pagan gods.
Yeah.
You know,
That's definitely,
um,
yep.
yep. And so with Crom Cruach and Brendan defeating it. I mean, I don't think it's um, maybe necessarily a nod to Saint Brendan, one of the patron saints of the British Isles,
Hmm.
the Celtic lands. I don't know, but I kind of saw that and really the whole movie as this struggle between paganism and Christianity. What did you think? I mean, is that too simplistic of a narrative arc, or
No, no, I don't. I think that fits. I mean, it certainly fits. You're certainly in that time, and there's this idea of is Christianity going to survive these Viking invaders, which basically were pillaging and burning down villages just for resources. Which okay, is that going to send society back to the sort of old Celtic pagan ways, or will Christianity survive and thrive?
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's definitely. I mean, I see that angle, sure.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think that's a big piece of the movie.
and what I found really interesting is for it being set in a monastery, and the main characters being monks and are transcribing and illuminating manuscripts of the scriptures. There was very little or very subtle nods to Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
nothing overt, other than if you know a little Greek. If you know a little Greek, then early on you hear them say something about they once was it Brother Aiden wants Brendan to illuminate the Kiro. And I
Yes,
went,
yes.
oh, Kiro, I know that. I took Greek.
Yeah, I have it tattooed on my arm.
There you go. And so for any of our viewers who don't know that, Kiro is basically the first two letters of Christ.
Yes.
And it's that symbol you may have seen. It looks like a P with an X across the tail. Um, that's a Kiro, and it's a symbol of Christ.
Right.
So
One of
what
the earliest Christian symbols in the tradition.
right, and I think that the Christian fish is sort of an extraction of that
Mm-hmm. It
symbol.
is.
Um, and the interesting thing to me was they mention it. I think it was mentioned twice, but they never explained it.
Mm-hmm.
They never. So you either knew what they were talking about, or you didn't.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, um, which I think goes back to what you said last week, where it's an overtly and covertly Christian film, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Um,
Right. Right. Yeah. There are those pieces that you got to be in the club to know what they're talking about.
right. Now, what's funny to me, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I used to read a lot of this one guy who was a film critic, and he had been in a car accident, so he's in a wheelchair, and he was kind of a grumpy guy, and he called himself the cranky critic.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to say that you shouldn't have to know the source material in order to understand the movie. And I think
Okay.
that's really wise, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that not that I'm one of those people that needs everything explained to me, because if I don't understand it, I'll go look.
Right.
I'll go find out, right? I'll do a little research and figure out what they meant. Um, but I think a lot of people will miss that
Yes, I
because
agree.
they don't know what Kiro is. They've probably seen the symbol, but they don't know that that's what it is.
Sure.
So there's that part of it. There's never really any explicit mentions of Jesus or of
Right.
God. It's more, you know. So yeah, I get it. It's really interesting how it feels like it's just kind of snuck in there, even though it's in a monastery, it's in an abbey. It should be blatant and obvious. There were crosses.
Mm-hmm.
There
There
were
were. Yep.
crosses in the artwork. So,
Right.
but other than that, it was very subtle, and it was
Yes.
very kind of underplayed, which I'm okay with because I know that stuff. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it's helpful for us to point it out and say,
I think the same could go in the other direction. I mean, you'd have to know or have a very, very basic knowledge of like kind of Celtic mythology
right.
to understand some of the other things, like Crom Cruach,
Mm-hmm.
the that deity,
Yeah.
or
Well, I mean, there's some funny stuff in there. There's a story that I read in doing some of the research after the fact, after watching the movie,
right,
that the cat that was it brother Aiden's cat.
uh, Pangraban.
Yeah, Pangraban was named. Now, they don't say it in the film. It's not about, but apparently the name is an homage to a Celtic monk who wrote stories in the margins of his Bible about his cat.
Ah,
Okay.
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, look that one up. It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
Um,
very cool.
so I think that for me at least, that's one of the fun things about doing this podcast when I get a film I don't know,
Right,
is
you
doing the
do some
research and
research.
finding those little tidbits, the little things that go, oh, okay, I didn't get
Yeah,
that, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Have
so
you ever seen the Book of Kells, like either a video or pictures or in person?
I can't say I have, no,
Uh,
no.
I think
It,
I
it
think my
was
wife has seen it.
yeah, the idea was completely new to me.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, I've obviously heard about illuminated manuscripts and that sort
Yep,
of
yeah, yeah,
but you know this particular book I had not heard of. And
yeah.
so, when at the end, when Brendan comes back and he presents it to his uncle, the abbot, um, and he said it's the book of Iona. The abbot
Yep.
says it's the book of Iona. He says, no, it's the book of Kells. And I
Yeah.
went, okay, was that just like for the town or I didn't get that right away until I started reading about it. And it actually is a thing, you know?
Right, right, right. No, so I think there's the Book of Iona and then there's the Book of Kells.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're two separate things. Yeah.
Yeah. But initially when they were talking about it, Brother Aiden was illuminating the book of Iona.
Yes,
Thought
right,
that's what
right,
it was when he brought it to the Abbey and Brendan was
right.
taking a look at it, and he thought it was the Book of Iona, and then later when Brendan finishes it and brings it back, he names it the Book of Kells. Again,
Yeah,
this is a dramatization. It is not a factual story,
sure. Well,
but
and of course, Iona is a deeply spiritual place.
mhm,
Has been for that's an island on in the Inner Hebrides off the western coast of Scotland.
right,
Um, it's kind of been a spiritual pilgrimage and destination for people. So, yeah, but again, you kind of got to know that, right? To
right,
understand that this is really, I think, a story about um, in ninth century Ireland, Christianity and paganism coming together, and You know,
And I think interestingly, because of some of those details that most particularly Americans aren't going to know, right?
right, right.
It's probably one of the big reasons that nobody's seen this film. It had such a small release in the States.
It did, yes.
It was nominated for Best Animated Feature, but I don't think it ever got any serious consideration. I mean, honestly, I hadn't heard of it until the words came out of your mouth last week. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I'd recommend watching it. Well, I can't say the second one because I haven't seen the second movie. Wolf Walkers, I've seen. My
mhm.
girls loved it, and I watched it with them, and it was really good. So I'm sure the whole trilogy is, I think, probably worth a viewing.
Cool. Yeah. My son apparently just from watching Akira now, he's hooked on anime.
Okay,
He
okay.
was sick. He was sick the last 2 days. We were sitting at home on Monday watching Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, I love Cowboy Bebop.
So
I'm still reading through the Akira manga. I'm
yeah.
about halfway through the first volume. Um, so it's great. It's great, but I'm seeing how the animated movie builds on yet deviates from the
Hmm.
manga.
Yeah.
It's
I haven't gotten it yet. I haven't gotten the manga. But I am reading something else that you recommended. I've been
the
reading.
Bible. You're finally reading that.
Yeah, I finally started reading the Bible, and I figured, it's about time. I'm reading the what's it called? The New 52, the Batman stories that started with the Court of Owls.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, I've been reading those. I'm on
yes.
the third one. So the third one is called Death of the Family. Uh
Oh, I've got that. Court of Owls is amazing.
yeah, I read
Yeah,
it. It was
yeah,
good.
yeah. I've got the box set. It's that was one of the Batman graphic novels or comic runs that I read, and I'm like, this is like actually truly terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it has for me at least, and we're off topic, but for me it has this sense of going back to a lot of the original Detective Comics feels to it, you know.
Sure. Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so that I loved about it.
Right.
Um, I think some of my favorite Batman stuff, at least in the last 15 years, was the have you seen or read White Knight, Batman White Knight?
Yes.
Um,
Phenomenal.
where Joker becomes the good guy.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. And
that's,
Joker is my favorite villain of all time.
those stories are just bonkers.
And have you read Arkham Asylum?
Which the original, the Bill Sienkiewicz one?
No, this one came out a year or two ago.
Oh no, not no. I read
It's
the
like,
the one from like 1990 or something.
oh, okay. No, this is a
The
newer
one with
one.
all the painted artwork. It's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. That one's phenomenal.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
All right, we are way off topic. It's time.
Yes, and you've got to challenge me to a movie, right?
Well, come on, you know what I'm going to tell you.
Oh, number two.
Schindler's List.
Oh, Schindler's List. Okay. All
Dude,
right.
you have so got to watch. If you have not seen that movie, you have got to watch that movie. I know just off the top of my head, it won Academy Award for Best Picture. Um,
Yeah. Yes. So I've heard the accolades. Yeah.
Liam Neeson is great in it. It's Steven Spielberg directed. It's in black and white. Um, so be prepared for that. Uh, and for friends, if you're watching and you have never seen Schindler's List, there's very challenging themes in this. It's about the Nazis in World War II Germany.
Hmm.
And how someone I mean, he's sort of the World War II version of Harriet Tubman, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So he's it's a fantastic film. And honestly, one that I think people should just see. Um, if you haven't seen it, yeah. You
Okay.
got to watch Schindler's List. And
Well,
you
I've
said,
got it. I've got it on the DVD rack in my basement. I've just
yeah,
never seen it. Someone gave it to me in a pile of DVDs years ago, and I like, oh, I've heard of this. I've heard it's good. I'll set it aside. Just have never
yeah. take it out of the plastic, and you.
How did you know it's still in the plastic? All right.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, right. Okay, then I will. It's a long movie, isn't it?
It's over 2 hours, like 2.5 hours, I think, something like
Okay.
that. But
Well, Avengers Endgame was like 18 hours, so Schindler's List will be fine.
yeah, I mean, I'm not asking you to
I
watch all
watched
the Lord of the Rings films or anything. Oh, oh, what's it? All six films in the extended versions.
the
It's
extended, yeah, with deleted scenes. I have those all those box sets. Yeah,
so do I.
yeah.
That's a 3 day marathon, is what that is.
Oh, for sure.
So,
Yes.
all right,
Okay.
friend.
Cool, man. I
So
will watch
this
it.
week, Evan's gonna watch Schindler's List. Um, and we're gonna hopefully soon. I'm in conversation with one other person, and so we'll be bringing them along pretty soon, I think. And yeah, that's where we're at. Anything else to say about
Exciting.
Book of Kells?
I have a cool chasuble. You know
Yeah,
those fancy clerical vestments that you wear when presiding at communion.
sure.
That is modeled after the Book of Kells.
Cool.
So it's really cool. And
You
I,
sent
I
me a
I I
picture of
don't
that.
wear it once in a while because I you
Yeah, I
know
know.
I look like the Liberace of clergy in that thing. So
No, see, now I got that picture in my head, and I'm not gonna be able to.
yeah, so I don't wear it that often.
All right, all right, friends. Till next week. Keep on finding God in the dark. We will see you all next Friday.
Peace, everyone.